Shadowverse. Blaze and Kira, the annual tournament. 20 years after the war and 12 years after Seth's rampage. In the reformed Muram world, martial arts reign supreme. He fuels superhuman abilities, with clans vying for power. Justice factions fight corruption, while evil forces seek dominance as demonic cults follow their own code. Blaze is an outlier from the Muram world, gifted with the ability to channel ki energy and transform it into devastating attacks or strengthen his body for defense and utilize some magic. Though he has respectable power, no one knows his name or capabilities. Driven by a desire to see justice done, to help others and better his skills. Blaze is kind and compassionate at heart and always strives to do what is right. He lives a life of solitude, though he makes an exception for his childhood friend and relatives, preferring to keep to himself and avoid conflict whenever possible. He is average height and muscular, with black hair and honey brown eyes. Often wearing a light black cloak, to conceal his identity, helping him stay anonymous. He walks through the bustling marketplace, his senses tingling with the energy of those around him. Having just turned 40, he and Kira appear to be half their age as they walk through the streets. The chi thick in the air, the various practitioners of martial arts, easy to spot with his sensing ability as their auras outshine the common folk. He looks over at his longtime friend and now teacher. A lot of strong fighters for the tournament this year, he says, nudging her shoulder. Sure you wanna fight this year, Kira? He teases. She glances at him. Hey, keep focused, and of course I'm entering. That women's championship is mine for this year, they just don't know it yet. She says. Seeing her determination, he nods in approval. You've trained long and hard for this. I know you can do it. He pauses, studying her for a moment. This year, what's that supposed to mean? He thinks. Just then he senses another energy like Kira's that flows in beautiful, dense, complicated patterns as a red-haired mage appears from the crowd. She winks and almost guides him away with a finger under his chin, chuckling. Hey cutie, good luck out there, she says, causing him to blush as she continues on. Kira watches after her before turning back to Blaze with a small smirk. She's one of the ones I trained. I've trained with the best, and I've faced some dangerous foes before. Nothing they can throw at me will be new or unexpected, her voice confident and unwavering. And you, Mr. Ladies Man, need to focus on your training even after this tournament. As much as Blaze wants to defend himself, he knows she's right. Well, if you'd stop quawking at the knights and mages, maybe we could actually train, he says. Kira's eyebrow lifts and her mouth curls into a smirk. All right, let's go find a nice quiet spot where I can thoroughly embarrass you. She extends her hand out, grinning playfully. I'm not here for anything but helping you improve. We have a deal on sparring. Blaze shakes her hand, grinning. Deal. Blaze walks over to a local. You know any place around here to train in contact sparring? He asks politely. The local looks at Blaze with a wry grin. There's an abandoned dojo in the woods to the south of here. Many people know about it, but it's perfect for your needs. He pauses. It's a shame the place was abandoned after the war. He sighs, then offers Blaze a cold ice cream-like treat. Thinking of Kira, he buys another and pays the man double before making his way back to her. The air in the woods is thick with the scent of damp soil and decaying leaves, and the chi is somewhat more concentrated than in the marketplace. Blaze leads Kira to the abandoned dojo, the ruined building covered in vines and half buried in the earth. They see a few others around the large ruins as they practice and chant in meditation. Seeing a clear area, Kira quickly moves over to it, being mindful of the others around. Blaze stands across from her and raises his energy slightly. Kira signals to start and dashes towards him, turning to a blur. Raising his arm, he blocks a hard kick that pushes him to the side, where he pivots on one foot, slipping past a heavy left hook. His movements quick, his form nearly perfect. He counterattacks, striking out with a powerful palm strike, but she scrapes by with a straight right, connecting with his jaw, knocking him to the ground in a spray of rock and dirt. She grins, dashing after him as he rolls away. Oh come on, slowpoke, you gotta be able to hit me eventually. she says, blocking a roundhouse that clears out the dust. She lashes out with a front kick, landing heavy in his gut, dropping him to the ground gasping for air, a pillar behind him crumbling from the shockwave. Phew, you're faster. Blaze grunts through gritted teeth, forcing himself to stand despite the pain. As others start to watch their sparring session, Kira smirks. Come on, you can do better than this, right? She says, heckling him. I can do better. Blaze growls as he picks himself up off the ground. They continue to spar, their movements growing faster and more complex. Kira taunts to push him harder, but he holds back. Suddenly she steps unexpectedly and he loses track of her as she lands a solid blow to a pressure point in his neck and he drops to the ground like a sack of potatoes. Maybe that'll finally teach you to listen to your teachers, she says, crossing her arms as she sits to meditate. Blaze slowly pushes himself up as others around chuckle. Yeah, laugh it up, he says, sitting in front of Kira, who giggles. You coulda went easy, it's just training, he says, feeling embarrassed. Kira shakes her head. No point in training if you don't push yourself, or at least have someone who can keep up. But sure, I'll take it easy from now on, she smirks, looking him over. You've still got plenty of room to cultivate and grow your flow of energy. He nods, agreeing, then accepts a cup of tea gratefully and takes a sip as he glances around the dojo. So, do you think we're ready for the tournament? He asks. Raising an eyebrow, she carefully considers his question. Honestly, anyway it goes, I see you doing well. I can handle my matches. I think you're a lot better than you let on to. He shakes his head. Nah, I'm only okayish. That's why I came to learn from you, he says as she eyes him. Kira studies his face for a moment. Well, I'm flattered. She takes another sip of her tea, gazing out into the distance. The abandoned temple, bringing back childhood memories, a seemingly simpler time before the nukes wiped out most of the inhabitants around 20 years ago. Suddenly she perks up, pulling out a flyer searching for exterminators offering same-day pay. I held on to this, maybe could be useful. We're running short on funds and it's a few days before we get paid for our side work, she says, checking her money bag. He glances with a curious expression. You mean we can make extra money with a company-er? He quips jokingly. She rolls her eyes. No, you idiot, exterminators. We'd be getting paid to remove pests from people's homes, she explains. Oh, I see, he says, nodding, adjusting his clothes. Well, I wouldn't mind making a bit of extra coin. She grins, squeezing his shoulder. Good, you can't afford to be too proud or afraid to do what's needed, you know. Later in the day, Blaze is under another dojo, navigating uneven ground beneath it, Kira nearby searching for venomous snakes. Looking into a small gap, he reels back as a snake lunges from the dark. Dodging it, he hits his head on the dojo floor above, then slips, falling into a small depression that collapses. Reaching out, he drags Kira with him. The air in the tiny abandoned underground storage space is stuffy and musty, filled with the odor of damp earth and the rustling of small creatures scurrying away from the intruders. The snake, disturbed by their presence, flees into the forest. Kira clears her head as her eyes adjust to the dim light. Blaze coughs softly as he lay under her, her cheeks going red as she quickly climbs off. Watch what you're doing. Blaze swallows. Sorry, that thing surprised me, he whispers, feeling his face grow warm. As they continue searching for the snakes, they find several more, managing to capture them safely and earn a good sum of extra money. Kira glares at him as they walk. You did that on purpose just to get close to me, didn't you? She says, seeing him sheepishly glance at her. He laughs nervously. No, not at all. It was an accident, he insists, trying not to make eye contact. She smirks at his discomfort, knowing he can only dig himself into a hole. Walking to the nearby inn, they get 2 adjoining rooms for the night from the peppy receptionist who flirts with Blaze. Kira glances back at her as they walk to their rooms. She's cute, you should go talk to her, she tells Blaze. Well, I could, But I'm not here to find a girlfriend, I'm here to train and get stronger. She slaps him in the back of the head. Training is over for today, go have some fun. Besides, I can tell you think she's cute. She teases. He rubs his head, feeling a bit bashful as he glances over at the receptionist who winks at him giggling. Kira rolls her eyes, then thinks a moment. Shisa has a thing for you. Might change our lives for the best meeting people. She smiles. Fine, I'll go talk to her. But just for a little while. Kira goes to her room to meditate as Blaze strikes up a conversation. She smiles to herself. Can't always be work. She thinks as she slips into her room. Closing the door behind her, she leans against it with a sigh of relief. It's been a long day, and she's looking forward to some rest. She takes off her light armor and hangs it neatly on the wall, revealing a simple yet stylish black tank top and matching shorts. A few hours later. As Kira settles into her bed, she hears a loud thud from somewhere. Her eyes snap open and she reaches for her sword before remembering they left their weapons with the innkeeper for the night. She listens carefully. Sounds like it's coming from Blaze's room. She thinks as she slowly gets up and creeps over to his door. Pressing her ear against it, she can hear muffled sounds of struggle, grunts, and the sound of something breaking against the floor. Kira listens for a moment and relaxes as she remembers the receptionist Blaze was flirting with. She could still hear some noises coming from Blaze's room, but they sounded not so bad. Probably just a bit of roughhousing. She thinks, feeling embarrassed. The next morning, her and Blaze meet up in the hall and make their way to the tournament arena to register. Have fun last night? She asks as they walk past the receptionist who waves to Blaze. He grins sheepishly, blushing a bit. She was really nice, he says, looking at Kira for her reaction. But nothing happened, he assures her, holding up a hand. No need to lie, I heard you two last night. She smirks, seeing his cheeks turn red. The two laugh at their playful banter as they continue to the arena. The air around them fills with excitement and tension as other competitors mill about, stretching their muscles and sharpening their senses. The registration office is packed as people stand in line to sign up. Moving through the crowds, Blaze gives a fighter room to pass and accidentally bumps another larger man who turns around glaring. Hey, he says, pushing Blaze in the shoulder. You blind or something, he says angrily. Blaze backs away, but the guy steps closer. We got a problem here, the man says as Kira gets between them. Boys, calm down, save it for the arena, right? She says. The man glares at her and tilts his head, his bloodshot eyes searching for a weakness. Who do you think you are, girly? Get out of the way, he sneers, shoving Kira roughly aside as he advances on Blaze. Blaze steps towards him. Dude, what's your problem? He snaps as the air between them crackles with energy. Before either acts, a large peacekeeper notices and steps in. Okay, we get that things are hectic, but if you fight in here you will be banned from the tournament this year, understand? Understand, he says, pointing at Blaze and the other man. Kira glares at the man, narrowing her eyes. He might think I'm just another weakling girl, but I'll prove him wrong in my own way. She thinks as she hangs back, letting Blaze handle the confrontation as she sees it working out. Blaze takes a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. I understand, he says, raising his hands in surrender. The other man smirks. Yeah, whatever, I got it, he says, still glaring at Blaze. Kira keeps her eyes on him. I'm not about to let him push Blaze around, but it isn't the right moment. The peacekeeper returns and shoos them off, giving them another warning to calm down or face the consequences. She grabs Blaze, leading him to the sign-in desk. Just forget it, it's not worth getting banned, she tells him. Maybe, Blaze replies, his shoulders slumping in defeat. But I can't just let someone push you around like that, he replies, glancing at her from the corner of his eye. But if you say so, let's just focus on the tournament. Who is that guy anyway? She hesitates a moment and lies, not seeing the truth going well. I don't know, just some guy, she tells him. Blaze senses her unease but doesn't push it, accepting her answer. Within a few minutes the two sign up, ignoring the disapproving looks they get from some of the other competitors. One man calls out, "Hey soldier boy, where's your men?" "Oh right. Killed in the ship you should have been on." Kira grits her teeth, blocking the man out. Turning to Blaze, she pushes him along. As they make their way to the arena, she can't help but feel the thrill of anticipation run through her. The stands are packed, the energy in the air palpable as the smell of food and sounds of haggling at vendors drift through the streets. "You okay, Blaze?" she asks, sensing that he's not quite as focused as he should be. She glances over at him, noticing the slight tremor in his hands and the faint sheen of sweat on his brow. "You're shaking a bit. Are you sure you're feeling all right?" He nods. "Just nervous." He laughs. The combined screams and cheers of the crowd, reminding him of the battle at sea and the POW camps. The two of them continue walking, both lost in their own thoughts as they make their way to the tournament arena. Its vast structure stands before them with towering walls adorned in colorful banners and streamers, the smell of incense and sweat thick in the air. Looking at the boards, Blaze sees all the competitors, the guy from earlier being among the first to fight. He taps Kira on the shoulder. "Remember big and hostile back there?" He points to the place card. She nods in acknowledgement, her gaze flicking to the area where Blaze pointed. "I remember," she says softly. "I can't forget." Her voice is firm, resolute. "Let's go find our seats." She motions toward the entrance to the arena, trying to change the subject. Blaze studies the board and sees the man is among the first fights in the unregulated matches. Kira pauses, thinking a moment, then nods to herself. "We aren't fighting in those matches," she says, seeing his expression. He looks up at the sun a moment, then turns to the entry intake personnel walking by. "Any spots left open in unregulated?" he asks. The intake personnel narrow their eyes. "They are full up now, sir. If you'd like to participate in a sanctioned match, we could find you one soon." He pauses for a moment. "Or?" Blaze arches a brow. "Or," he repeats, not sure if he likes where this is going. The intake staffer leans in and whispers something to the ear of one of his colleagues. A humanoid insect nods, and then gestures for them to follow. Kira shakes her head at him. "Blaze, don't. We didn't come here for those matches," she says, following her student and closest friend. He nods as they trail behind the guide, and they are led to a small office, where another older man, dressed in the formal robes of a tournament official, sits behind a large desk. He looks them up and down, assessing them before speaking. Though Blaze isn't listening as he looks over, spotting the man from earlier. "I thought you looked familiar," he says, seeing him in his fighting clothes and championship belt spattered in blood. He smirks at Blaze getting in his face. "Well, look at who it is. What, too scared and want to drop out already?" Blaze chuckles. "No, I just want into the unregulated matches to get in there with you." The head official clears his throat. "Well, I don't see why not. Since you're both so eager to test your mettle against each other, you'll have your chance now." He adjusts his spectacles, studying a paper on his desk for a moment. "Your match is up next, gentlemen." Kira looks at them both and then to the officials. "No, as his master I don't consent to that," she says. The official turns to her. "If it was a regulated match, that would be taken into account. But as the rules state, unregulated is open to all, no restrictions, and requires no approval from one's instructor." "I assume you know what that means," he says with finality. "Yes," she says, feeling her chest tighten. As they head to the ring for the first fight, Blaze looks at her with concern as he senses her unease. Placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder, he smiles. "It's all right, Kira. He's pretty powerful, but I got this," he says, feeling unsure. "Blaze, please don't go out there. He is the leading champion in the world." "I'm not going to die out there, Kira." "Not today," he replies, mustering as much confidence as he can. They reach the ring as the last fight of the preliminary rounds finishes up, the crowd's cheers dying down. Blaze smiles at her. "Good luck in your matches, Kira. And at least root for me," he says as she stops at the doorway leading to the large octagon ring. "You idiot, just don't die out there," she says, then turns to go to the competitor spectating area. With a final nod and a deep breath, Blaze steps onto the sand-covered ring. He looks at the ruins and obstacles scattered around. His shoes sinking into the sand as he spots the other man. The two of them lock eyes, meeting in a game of intimidation Blaze isn't playing. The announcer's voice echoes through the stadium. And for our next match, a no-rules bout between two fighters who have been itching for a chance to test their skill against each other's. It's a fight till the winner kills, or spares. The crowd roars in anticipation. Contender number 1, you know and love him, some of you hate him, the champion. World Ender Zalcor. The crowd erupts into chants for the champion. And our second contender for today's first official match. Blaze is a dishonorably discharged serviceman, up to now an unknown but willing fighter. Will he go down in a bloody heap or blaze through the competition? The arena boos and chants for Zalcor as Blaze takes a deep breath and a step forward, feeling the cheers of the crowd wash over him. He nods at Zalcor, acknowledging the man's skill and experience, determined not to be intimidated. Instead he channels his own confidence and focuses on the task at hand. Fight echoes through the arena with the crowd's chants. Zalcor raises his energy and a harsh wind blasts away the sand in the ring, causing Blaze to brace against the pressure. The champion's energy unlike anything he's felt before. Empty, cold and merciless, like a glacier carving through stone. But he remains calm, focusing on maintaining his own energy flow. Suddenly Zalcor is beside him, landing a hard punch to his face that sends him crashing through a stone wall. Kira jumps up. No, she cries out, restraining herself from interfering. The crowd echoes through the arena as the champion stands above, towering over him like a colossus. Blood streams from his nose and mouth, staining the sand crimson. Zalcor chuckles. I told you, no mercy, he says as Blaze climbs to his feet, unable to avoid a heavy left hitting him in the gut, the force impacting like a small asteroid rocking the arena. Kira gasps as everyone shields their eyes from the flying dust and dirt. Blaze's feet tear into the ground as he coughs up blood, his energy fluctuating wildly as he drops to his knees. His opponent smirks, sensing an easy victory. With renewed rage, he launches a powerful kick toward Blaze's head. But he is ready. Reflection level 1. He thinks at lightning speed, putting up 2 fingers intercepting the kick. Instantly the force is directed back into Zalcor, blasting him across the ring. Blaze grunts from the kick's force, bending over and absorbing the impact with his legs. Wow, he's strong, he thinks. Gathering himself, he launches a series of quick, precise strikes at Zalcor, catching him off guard as the lingering dust is blown away by the impacts. Blaze dodges a hypersonic knife hand. Then dashes forward with a straight punch, impacting the champ's fist in a parry strike, causing another massive blast wave. Struggling with the output quality, Blaze loses the power clash, his shoulder dislocating with a crack. Kira winces from across the arena as he is pushed back violently. The champion laughs, reveling in Blaze's pain. So feisty for a coward, he taunts, stepping forward. You have nowhere to go but down. With inhuman speed, he moves to deliver a deadly roundhouse kick. Cancellation level 100. He thinks as he strikes and his body flashes silver. Blaze is stunned as the kick lands, knocking the air out of his lungs, hitting shallow, only doubling him over. Zalcor lifts him by his head and lands a solid straight to his midsection, driving him into the arena floor. Fight, 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 echoes through the arena as the crowd chants. Kira watches, her eyes wide with worry. Don't you give up, she shouts, her voice cracking. Fight back. Grr. Blaze growls, feeling the energy coursing through his veins. He grips the ground, his tendons straining as he forces his body back up to its feet. His vision blurs a moment, but he focuses on the flicker of yang energy dancing around his opponent. Zalcor rockets towards him and he prepares to counter, but is surprised as suddenly the energy shifts. His defense becoming almost useless as the strikes land. The arena floor explodes in a series of rapid impacts, and as the dust settles, it's clear Zalcor is the victor. He grips Blaze by his hair and raises a magic spear into the air. Kill, or spare, he shouts. The crowd roars their approval, echoing the champion's decree. Kira's eyes widen with panic as Blaze's life hangs in the balance. She tries to stand, but her legs won't support her weight. Blaze, She cries out telepathically. The crowd comes to decision. Kill, 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 they chant. Blaze closes his eyes. In that moment, he sees Kira, hears her plea for him to back out. I shoulda listened to her, he thinks. Zalcor plunges the spear into his gut as the round-ending bell sounds. Blaze grunts in pain as his eyes fly open in shock, clutching the spear with his hand, blood seeping between his fingers. Zalcor steps back, laughing triumphantly as the crowd goes wild with cheers. Kira's heart stops as she watches Blaze fall to the ground and stumble, tears streaming down her face. The crowd seems to lose its mind, their cries of victory and glee almost too much to bear. Jumping over the railing, she rushes to Blaze's side as he falls to the ground. The spear reverting to a pocket-sized crystal as Zalcor retrieves it. The champion eyes the defeated fighter as Kira cradles his head, trying to staunch the flow of blood, her heart racing with fear. She looks up at Zalcor with hate burning in her eyes, then turns her attention back to Blaze as he coughs weakly. Blaze, just hang on, she says, holding him until the medics arrive to carry him to the medical wing. She looks at World Ender and he glares at her. You should be grateful he even has a chance at all, he says coldly. She holds herself back, feeling hatred boil inside, and follows the medical team, her mind racing with worry and anger. As they reach the infirmary, she's relieved to see that Blaze's wounds are being tended to. The medical staff, knowing what they're doing, applying acupuncture and herbs to help restore Blaze's chi, then start surgery on his wound. She sits down beside his bed, out of the way, watching the medical staff work. Taking his hand in hers, feeling the warmth of his skin. Hang in there, Blaze, she whispers, her voice barely audible. You can make it through this. His features twist in pain as the medical team continues their work. Kira, he whispers weakly, his voice barely audible over the soft whisperings of the medical staff. I should have listened to you. She squeezes his hand reassuringly. We'll talk about that later, okay? Just rest now. She pauses. He squeezes her hand. You're sanctioned. Fights are soon. I'll be here when you done, he says, grunting. She takes a deep breath, unable to hide the mix of emotions on her face. I'll make sure to come and check on you once they're over, she says, squeezing his hand again. Don't you worry about a thing, Blaze, I've got your back. He looks at the nurse next to him. Can I get that knockout stuff now? He gasps in pain. She nods and puts a mask over his face. He smiles at Kira. Go. Win that prize moan, he says, drifting off. She nods and looks at the medical staff. Be honest, is he gonna be okay? The lead nurse, seeing the concern in her eyes, gives her a reassuring smile. Your friend is a strong fighter, both inside and out. He'll pull through this with time and rest. Kira nods, relief flooding through her as the nurses and surgeons continue to work. ... As she gets ready for her matches in a separate ring, she notices Blaze's blood on her hands and her breath catches in her throat. She gasps and scrambles to clean it off as best she can. Come on, he's gonna need help, and we need this money now more than before, she thinks, taking a few breaths to steady herself. ... She takes her position in the ring, her body relaxed and ready. The crowd roars as she prepares to face her first opponent. ... At the end of her third round, the crowd is on its feet, chanting her name as she lands a heavy left mixed with ice magic to a fire demon's chest, stunning it. She follows up with an energy kick to its chin, sending it skyward. Jumping after it, she lashes out with a wind punch, knocking the creature out as it craters into the arena, the vortex suffocating its fire. A referee flashes to the ring and examines the fire demon a moment. And the winner by knockout, the aggressive but oh so beautiful Kira, the ref shouts across the stadium. Kira nods at the announcer, feeling a mix of pride and relief as the crowd cheers her victory. The prize money she'll earn will help cover Blaze's medical expenses and hopefully give a fresh start. She waves to the crowd and hurries back to the medical wing. As she rushes back to the infirmary wing, her mind still reels with worry. She pushes past several people in the corridor, ignoring their questioning glances. Finally, she arrives at Blaze's bedside, she takes a moment to compose herself before leaning over him. "You better be okay," she says, looking at his bandages and stitches. He opens his eyes groggily and giggles a little. "Those look lovely," he says in a daze. Kira blushes and slaps him in the shoulder. "Hey, what was that for?" he groans. "Don't comment about my breasts. It's not proper." He chuckles. "I meant your bruises, idiot." He holds up a mirror then groans, grabbing his shoulder. "Oh, I'm sorry," she says, embarrassed. "Hey, you won enough today. Don't worry about me." Blaze looks back at her, his eyes filled with a quiet determination. "Now let's get some rest and see what tomorrow brings." He reaches out to squeeze her hand, grimacing in pain as he does so. ... The next day, Kira and her father help Blaze to the hotel as his condition has improved greatly. "That was some beating you took, young man. Honestly think he might like you," usually spears through the head. The older man says. Kira shakes her head. No, he just didn't want to miss out on a good fight later. She thinks to herself, shuddering. "Hey, maybe," her father says noncommittally. "But you know, I've seen some real martial artists in my time, and this one was something else. Speed like a whip and strength to match. You're going to have to keep working hard if you want to catch up with him, my girl," her father says, pointing at Blaze. "Yeah, I know. Hey Dad, maybe we could all have lunch your off day," she offers. He chuckles. "That sounds good. We'll find a nice place where they don't know how to cook squirrels and I'll treat you too." He slaps Blaze on the back harder than he intended, causing the younger man to wince. Giving her father a hug as they reach Blaze's room and he returns home to his newborn and wife. Kira helps Blaze over to his bed. She leans in close, her breath hot against his ear. "You better not embarrass me too much, like my worst student, you hear?" she whispers with a playful smile. "You've got a lot of training to do when you're healed. And no more one-night stands or dates, you need to focus on training," she says. Blaze chuckles. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, the receptionist. No, we almost did, but embarrassed I didn't notice it, but turns out she's married, so I had to send her away," he says. Kira looks confused for a moment before shrugging. "Oh, well, it's not like it matters." "She didn't matter anyway," she says, suddenly lost in thought. "But I'm still not happy about you making me so worried." She glares at him. "So who's your worst student?" he asks. She shakes her head. "You met him in the ring," she says. Blaze looks at her. "I thought it felt like your style of flow. Just such nasty feeling energy. I wasn't sure if it was a student of yours." She lightens the mood. "But that one lady, with the almost glowing red hair. She's my student too. Beautiful looks and energy." He smirks. "Not as beautiful as you though." She stops and the smile she gives him makes him warm and at peace inside. "If you need anything, or if anything happens, I have your back," she tells him as she goes to rest in her room. Closing her door, she can't help but smile about the receptionist. Found out she's married and made her leave, she thinks. She shakes her head and readies herself for what's to come. Blaze lay there a few minutes. "I should ask her on a date," he whispers as he is about to get up. "Look who it is, alive and well. You're pretty tough for a small guy. Anyone else would have been a smear all over that arena halfway through," Zalcor says softly as he steps out of a shadow portal. Blaze looks at him. "What are you doing here?" Zalcor's smile shifts as he walks around the bed, inspecting Blaze from head to toe. "Just here to make sure you're not running your mouth off about anything you shouldn't, that's all." He chuckles, amused by the situation. "I do want to kill you even now. But what fun is it without a crowd and worthy prey?" he says, leaning down to his face. Blaze glances towards the door and Zalcor looks as well, rising up slightly out of his reach. "Go ahead, call her to her death," he whispers. Blaze chuckles nervously and shakes his head. "No need for that, you obviously have no reason to hurt her. Besides, we're not enemies," he winces as the movement pulls at his bandages. Zalcor cocks his head, seemingly unconvinced. "Perhaps not now, but maybe now," he says just before the door explodes. Kira's fist slams into his face with little effect as Blaze's world slows, seeing Zalkor's sick grin. He grabs her wrist as she pulls it back. Blaze tries to move and is elbowed in his wound as his stitches burst, pain shooting through him. In a flash he stabs a 7-inch wide sword to its hilt, pulling it out. Saw-like teeth extend, increasing the blood loss as her life pours to the carpet and bed. The colossal man lifts her by the wrist. "I'm sorry, sister. But I've dreamed of doing that for a long time," he says, then letting her drop to the bed he fades back into the shadow portal he came from. "Kira, stay with me," Blaze shouts as he tries to stop the bleeding with the sheets. "Blaze, it's okay. Just hold me," she struggles to say. He cradles her in his arms, tears streaming down his face. No, I won't let you go. You can't die, we've got so much more to do together." He holds her tightly, refusing to accept the inevitable. "Blaze, please, listen, I love you, Blaze. I always have," she tells him as she weakly pulls him into a kiss. "Blaze, don't lose who you are," she whispers in his mind as she fades away. His heart shattering as she lets out her last breath, going limp. He clings to her lifeless form as if he can somehow bring her back. His sobs echo through the room and into the halls, the mournful sound of despair and loss. He finally lets go as emergency response crews arrive. ... After giving his statement, he looks around feeling hollowed out, as if everything that made him who he was has been taken from him. He thinks about how the guards and law enforcement lost almost all interest at the mention of World Ender Zalkor. The next day he is in the hospital, sitting on the edge of his bed awaiting his release papers when Kira's father comes into his room. He moves over to Blaze and struggles at first to find the words. She always loved you. Honor her with the life you carry on." "I can't even add anything to that." Blaze nods in understanding as they mourn. Her father looks at him. "I know you love her and she did too. But I was always curious why you wanted Kira to teach you when you're already so powerful." Blaze shrugs. "We were always good friends. And she was always way better at neat and efficient energy flow. Mine's all over the place. If it wasn't, I could have beat him, and she's still..." Her dad cuts him off. "No," he says, pointing. "You do not blame yourself. My son is a person that makes his own choices. His illness is not your fault." And Kira would agree. Blaze gasps, trying to catch his breath, and her father sits on his bed with him a while as they mourn together. ... After a few more hours of visiting, Blaze and Kira's father part ways. The pain of loss still fresh in their hearts. Not thinking, Blaze returns to his room. He pauses as the smell of blood still fills the air, making him sick to his stomach. "Don't look, it'll just make it more real," he tells himself too late. The painful realization of how temporary life is. He sits back against the wall and slips down to sit. He stares through the broken door Kira ripped off its hinges. The white carpet and sheets of Blaze's room clean and tidy as if nothing happened. Nothing but a bloody sword mark in the ceiling is out of place as the world moves on. The red-haired woman with beautiful flowing energy stops next to him. "It's sickening World Ender went that far, but he isn't called World Ender for nothing." She pauses, wiping tears. "Kira was a close friend of mine. When you stop letting it paralyze you and heal fully, come and find me. I can teach you almost as much as she wanted to teach you." Blaze stares at her, eyes wide and full of confusion and despair. I don't know if I can," he whispers, voice shaking. "I mean, what's the point now? Without Kira?" She eloquently squats down facing him, careful to be modest. "The Kira I remember would smack that head of yours and say keep going. And she's not the only innocent one he's killed in cold blood. Find me if you feel up to it. I'll be waiting," she says and stands up. "Don't let it change you. Be the you were that Kira loved so much," she says, then makes her leave. Blaze sits there for what feels like hours, running her words through his head. Eventually, he stands, cracking his neck and knuckles. He looks at the sword mark in the ceiling, remembering the last time he saw Kira smile before she died. He can't let it be for nothing. As he's about to enter his room, the woman appears again. On second thought, maybe you should come to my inn across the way. Can't be good smelling that all night. Blaze nods reluctantly and says, let me. Just grab. She pulls him out of the doorway. Don't worry about that now. I'll have it taken care of for you. Blaze nods his appreciation and follows, still feeling dazed and in a state of disbelief. As they exit the inn, he takes a deep breath of the crisp fall air, trying to clear his mind and focus. I don't even know your name, he says as the beautiful energy swirls and dances around her. I'm Lena, she replies, her tone gentle and inviting. But you can call me teacher for now. Lena leads Blaze to an inn across the way, her long flowing red hair swaying gently behind her. The inn is bustling with activity, but she finds an empty room for them. Dot dot. Dot dot. Dot dot. Did her father send you to check on me? He asks as he lays in the bed next to Lena's. Not exactly, she replies. I'm just someone who wanted to make sure you were all right. Kira and I go way back, and I can't bear to see someone lose one so dear to them. Her voice trails off as she looks over at the young man. He nods, trying to calm his thoughts. Quote dot dot. I don't know how I'll ever be all right, he whispers. I mean, without her. What's even the point anymore? There's a heaviness in his voice that makes her heart ache. There is always a point, Blaze. Kira believed in you, and she would want you to continue living and achieving. Lena reaches over, gently placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. You don't have to face this alone. He looks at her and then away. He tries to speak but finds himself unable. He swallows hard, his voice cracking as he speaks. I don't know if I can. You can, Lena assures him firmly. And you were just as much a part of her as she was to you. Can't let that good part of her in you die. Lena's words echo through his mind as he struggles with the reality. He turns to her, seeing not just a kindred spirit who misses their friend as much as he does, but someone who understands the power of perseverance and resilience. I'll try. Dot dot. Dot dot. Dot dot. Over the next few months, Lena pushes Blaze just as Kira had their whole lives. Meditation and organized energy flow being Blaze's hardest areas to improve. Over time the training intensifies, and despite his grief, Blaze begins to see improvements in his meditation and energy control. The time spent with Lena helps to keep him focused on his goals, and he enjoys her company. As the months pass, they travel to different parts of the country, honing their skills and facing new challenges. Dot. 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 One day he's training with Lena when she catches him off balance and they tumble to the floor. Landing on top of him, her weight pressing into his chest, Lena's face inches from his own. Her eyes intense, her breath warm against his skin. What happened? She demands, her voice low and threatening. You lost focus, and you let me beat you. As Blaze tries to catch his breath beneath her, his gaze shifts between her piercing eyes and her succulent cleavage. A mixture of embarrassment and arousal rushes through him. He clears his throat, trying to focus on her words. I'm sorry. Lena narrows her eyes and leans in even closer, her breath warm against Blaze's skin. Do you want to get better? She asks, her voice low and demanding. He swallows hard, feeling her body heat and the intensity of her gaze. Yes, he whispers, eyes locked on hers. Dot. 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 Later that night as they sit beneath the stars, Blaze looks over at Lena. I have to be honest, I feel like I'm betraying Kira, he says to her. She shakes her head and sits beside him. I'm here because of Kira, you know. She knew from her visions that her time was coming and called me to make sure you would be okay. She tells him. If she knew, why not change it? He asks her, feeling confused. She gives him a reassuring smile as she wipes away his tears. It was the only way where one of you lives and finds love again. She chose to save you and give the best end possible. For years she had tried finding another way, she tells him. Blaze's breath catches in his throat and gasps, breaking down as Lena holds him. That's not fair. She never asked me. I'd have rather died with her than suffer this. He cries into her shoulder. She runs her fingers through his hair. She knew you'd be that way. This universe can be cruel and heartless, no reason or rhyme to it. She loved you and said it for you to carry on. She wanted to keep you from losing yourself. I know it hurts, but it's just how things are. And I know you can't love me as much as you love her. But she wanted you to be happy, she says, and Blaze hugs her as the tears flow. She could have told me, he gasps. She hugs him tighter as her heart aches for him. I know it hurts, she says, kissing his forehead. Don't give up and lose what she loved about you so much. He nods, feeling her words sink in, giving comfort in his agony. He sits up and looks at her. I never even got to know what it was like with her, he says. Lena shakes her head. That's the problem with many. Thinking it's some special words or feelings and actions. Real love is there in the normal everyday. She chooses to be near you and you choose her and all the things you've made it through over the years. Blaze chuckles tearfully. I never thought of it like that. As they sit in the night by the fire, the stars above and the forest around them instills a somber peace. ... Blaze wakes the next morning with Lena laying on his chest. He thinks of Kira and smiles. Wherever you are now, I'll always love you. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you for always being there and pushing me to be better. And thank you for sending Lena, he says softly. She'd be proud of you, Lena says, looking him in the eyes before kissing him. ... As the next tournament approaches, Blaze and Lena increase the study and training. A few days before the tournament, Blaze is walking with her through the streets. He sees a poster with Kira's brother Zalcor the World Ender holding a bloodied body up in victory, and he grits his teeth. Lena, sensing his mood, looks at him. I know it's hard, but don't give in to his game. He wants you angry, Blaze, she says, blocking the view of the poster. I know, he says with a sigh, still glaring at the image through her. It's just hard not to. He killed her, his own sister, and now he's practically taunting me. He's stronger, but Lena interrupts him. Stronger. The only thing stronger about him is the darkness he pretends is power. It takes real strength to know you can kill but instead have mercy and give the chance to live. Odd how many think that's strength. To kill when there's a choice. Reveals just who we are. You should know this, it was one of Kira's teachings and beliefs. He looks away from the picture, silent for a moment. I know, I just want to avenge her, he whispers, his voice filled with pain and determination. I have to make him pay, he thinks to himself. ...